Hello everybody. So before I get going in this class, what I wanted to do is spend time talking a little bit about academic misconduct, because unfortunately I've had some issues with that in this class, and I really wanted to try to talk about this before we get going in this course so that we can not have to worry about this ever again. So academic misconduct. Many times students ask me what sources are okay to use on assignments in any of my classes, whether it's an online class or not. And what I tell them is basically you can use whatever you want, right? In life, people are going to be asking you questions, and how you get the answer to them isn't necessarily like where you get the answer for them isn't necessarily a problem. Whether you're using a textbook, Google, talking to friends, people just care about getting an answer. Also, since this is largely an online class, I don't know where you're getting your information necessarily. Hopefully you're getting it from reliable sources, but I can't enforce what's going on, right? Or where you're getting that information. So what I say is, I never want to make rules I can't enforce, so just go out and wherever you find the answer, that's great. But the thing is, the work must be your own, right? So you have to put together writings and, whether it's an essay or just a short paragraph, you need to put that together, and you need to paraphrase it, summarize it, and make it your own stuff, not just copying and pasting directly from a Wikipedia page into the answer box or a Word document. That's not going to work, right? So there's lots of ways that academic misconduct can happen. We're going to talk, though, mostly about plagiarism, right? Which is misrepresentation of another person's work as your own. So this is like cutting and pasting, right? If you find something that very clearly answers a question, or you want to use someone else's words, if you take those words and write them exactly the same, or even if you just paraphrase and summarize, if you don't reference that person who did that, whether this was intentional or not, that would be plagiarism, right? That's representing someone else's work as your own. It's stealing someone else's words or their ideas, wherever you get it. Whether it's, whether you're talking to your mom and your dad, you should, if they give you an answer, you should then say, I got this answer from my mom and my dad, right? You need to tell people where you're getting your information if it's not from your own ideas. Now, the way we do this, the way we signal that in writing that these ideas are not my own, is with internal citations, okay? So this is a sentence from a paper I wrote in ecology, okay? It was a journal article that I wrote a couple years back, and it's talking about organisms in a temporary pond. It's not really important what it's about, but these are my words that I put together. But what I'm here with this Williams 2006, with this Erickson 1966, and this Paradise and Dunson 1998, what I'm saying is this part of the sentence is not my ideas. It's a visual cue that these are not my ideas, and it identifies the author and the year, this Williams 2006 paper, that they were talking about these same ideas and came up with it first. I'm putting it together and taking a bunch of people's different ideas and putting it together. So this is my work, but it's from ideas from someone else. Now, this isn't good enough, though. I can't just say Williams 2006, because someone seeing that doesn't know exactly what paper that came from. So we have external citations, or the bibliography, which lists all the sources that you consulted to do whatever writing that you're doing. Okay, so these are 3 references from that ecology paper. I think I just copied the first 3 from them, and what this is saying is that there was in the journal Ecological Applications in 2010, Bartson, Darford, Clark, and Caswell wrote this paper called Trends in Agricultural Impact and Recovery of Wetlands in Prairie Canada. Now, okay, that specific thing isn't important, but then in my paper I would have had internal citations that cited this Bartson 2010 paper. And this one also. Now, so as long as you have that internal and that external citation telling the reader that these are not my own ideas, you should be good. Okay? What do you need to cite, though? Oftentimes students will ask me, well, should I be citing everything I ever write? And the answer is, if you're not sure, you should probably cite, but you don't need to cite things like common knowledge, like the boiling point of water being 212 degrees Fahrenheit. When was that figured out? I don't even know, but everyone kind of knows that, so we don't really need to cite common knowledge kind of things. If it's your own logic, even if you're using other people's even if you're like talking about an idea that you're not super familiar with, but you're using your own logic, then you don't need to make a citation. Or things like idioms and well-known phrases. Like if I were to say, Fort Atkinson is about 10 miles northwest as the crow flies. That means in a straight line, right? Now, as the crow flies are not my own words. I didn't make them. It's a unique phrase, but it's not my own, right? But that's something that's become, that's an idiom. That's a phrase that just people use, so you don't need to necessarily cite that. What you do need to cite is if there is a unique phrase that's not like commonly used, whether it's a quote and someone else's ideas. But a lot of people don't realize that if you paraphrase things, if you take someone's words and change the way the words are, if you summarize what those people have written, then you also need to use a citation for that, an internal and an external citation. So that's really important to do, that when you're paraphrasing and summarizing to have that citation. Now, let me go back here to this. Williams 2006. Okay, what if you're looking at a website and they don't have an author? Many websites don't have an author. That's probably not the best source, so you should probably consider another source to use. I just kind of want you to do the best you can. So sometimes, like many governmental websites that are reputable but don't have an author, that might be, you can fill in as much of the citation as you can, and that should be good enough. So people might say, well, what type of format do you want the citations in this course? I don't want you to just give me a website URL and that's your citation, right? I need things like the name of the author, the year it was written, the article title, the main website, and then the specific URL where you found that. Same with like a book or a magazine or something. I need the author and the year and the title, and publisher if possible. So I use MLA, APA if you want, whatever you're really familiar with in your specific field of study. Doesn't really matter. Whatever format, and if it has this amount of information, like the author's name, the year, the article, and where you found it, that's good enough for me. Just overall, just try to be consistent throughout the course. So, how do you avoid this academic misconduct? Well, we kind of already talked, but have that internal citation, have that external citation. If you're unsure whether you should cite it, just cite it, right? It's much better to err on the side of citing than not, okay? And what I will make you aware of that is all assignments in this class are checked with this turnitin.com, which it's a plagiarism detection software. And what that does is all the writings that are submitted in the course automatically go here to this turnitin.com, and they're checked for the language in your papers, in your paragraphs, in your any of your writing, whether it's found in other spots on the internet or anything else that has ever been turned into this turnitin.com. And it's really good. It gives me an exact percentage of, like 50% of this paper was found somewhere else. So you need to be really careful. You can actually log into turnitin.com yourself to see how your paper and what parts of your paper maybe would be showing up on this thing. And it's very easy for me then to detect when someone else just copies and pastes from a random internet site. It pretty much checks the whole internet for your specific phrases and your wording. I do take this very seriously. So when you represent someone else's work as your own, if it's accidental, we're kind of over here in this left-hand column. Now, I more clearly define what accidental is in the syllabus, but this basically means like if you're paraphrasing and you forget to put a citation. The first offense would be 0 on an assignment. The second offense would be the penalty of the 0 on this now second assignment, and the lowering of a letter grade, which would be 10% of your grade. And the third offense would be failing the course and possibly more severe penalties. If it's a deliberate thing, this would be like copying and pasting directly what someone else has written in this class, or like copying and pasting directly from the internet. What I would suggest is that there will be a 0 on the assignment and the lowering of letter grade, and the second offense that this happens, you're just going to be kicked right out of the course. You would fail the course, and with possibly more severe penalties depending on your academic misconduct history with the university. Now, I don't want to I shouldn't end on this, I guess, like saying this is what's going to happen if you cheat. That's not what I want here. I'm trying to make you aware of the consequences. Well, I'm first trying to define what plagiarism is, make you aware of the consequences, but realistically, this really should be about how to avoid this. Because if I never have to talk about academic misconduct with any of my students ever again, I would be a very happy person. And hopefully this presentation and the assignment that we're going to do later will help with that, so that we don't have to worry about going through any of these consequences that you see here. So with that, get started on your work and be sure to cite your sources.